If you say, I'm awesome, that's awesome. There's like this energy that lifts. So really being mindful of the words that we speak makes a difference on how you energetically show up.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. First of all, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. My name is Sam Hind, and it's my passion and my mission to help other people grow in business and step into their truest and fullest potential. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. And while we speak often about strategy and social media tips and tricks along the way, today I wanted to speak into something that's a really personal conversation for me with a very, very special guest. For lots of people, when they go into business, they've got this attitude that I just need to do more. If I just work harder, if I just get to this level, if I just earn this income, then I can do these other things that are really important to me. I learned the lesson the hard way that when we go into business, burnout is a very, very real threat if you don't have strategies in place to, number one, identify when this is becoming a problem, and number two, skills to pull on at any given time to be able to take yourself back to a place of being centered, calm, and in the best possible place you can be to perform at your best. So in this episode, I pulled in a very special guest, an expert in this space, Pamela Hunter. Pamela is an integrated health coach who specializes in yoga therapy and aromatherapy. She's also, because it's very important that somebody has experience in this industry to be able to speak on this podcast and therefore speak into your amazing direct selling business, she's also a diamond leader with Young Living. So she gets this industry back to front as somebody who has built her business up and, of course, has had to manage many, many people in her team. Pamela shares in this amazing interview some tips and strategies to be able to understand, number one, the importance of centering yourself and having awareness, but also how to do it quickly, no matter what your skill level is. I absolutely love chatting with Pamela. I learned some skills for myself in this interview, so I know you will too. So get ready, have yourself a pen and paper ready, and be ready to apply something from this episode. If there's one thing I can tell you, whenever you listen to any episode or training with me, it's all about what you do off the back of the learning, not the knowledge that you acquire. Knowledge isn't power, it's only potential power. It's not until we wield that power and use it that we get the incredible benefit that it has for us in our lives. So today is very important. Take something from this episode, apply it, practice it, try it. And I promise you, small steps in the right direction, better than giant ones in no direction. So enjoy the episode. We've got the amazing Pamela Hunter. I'm going to hand over to the interview now. Enjoy. Well, hey there, and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I am so excited to be welcoming a very special guest today. So great to have you here, Pamela Hunter. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Sam. It's a pleasure and an honor to be asked to accompany you.
Well, I think the pleasure is going to be all ours because I already know a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. And I think this topic of conversation is an insanely powerful one for anyone who, well, really anyone, but specifically, I'm going to say people growing a business. And over the years, through probably a lot of the harder ways I've learned how real burnout is and how important it is to take steps and precautions in advance before you get to those stages. So I think this is a very important conversation that we're going to have, and your expertise is one that I can't wait to pull from. But just to sort of introduce, I guess, our guests to you and help them get to know you a little bit better as well. You wear several hats. You're an integrative, I want to get this right, an integrative health coach with a specialty in yoga therapy and aromatherapy. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Awesome. And you are also a diamond leader with Young Living. So you also have a great understanding for the direct selling industry and what it's like to not only build but be successful in this space as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to share a little bit about your journey into this space, into yoga, wellness, direct selling itself? How did you get to be where you are today?
Sure. Years ago, I was 9 years old, and I had two boys, which I still do have these two boys, but they were little boys, and one had special needs. And with those special needs, you're this busy mom and you're doing all these things. And one of my neighbors was watching me and she just said, "You need to put your oxygen mask on first." We've heard that analogy. She
Yep.
started teaching yoga. She invited me to her yoga classes. I started going and I was like, wow. I soon realized how important it is to work on our self-care, our own healing journey, so that we can help our children in their journey. And that's how I got started in yoga. And that was back in 1999. And from that journey, the oils got introduced to me through a massage therapist in the yoga studio I was attending. One day I was having some, tightening in the chest. And for a yogi I started teaching kids yoga first so that my own children could
Wow.
participate.
Yeah.
And during that time, I'm jumping like frogs, I'm barking like dogs, I'm slithering like snakes all over the floor. And she noticed, this massage therapist said, "Do you have some tightening in your chest?" I said, "I do." She's like, "Let me grab this oil. We'll apply it on your chest. You will get through all those classes today." And that was my introduction into
Wow.
aromatherapy with the yoga. And all of that was to take care of myself so that I
Yep.
could take better care of my children.
Wow. And so, why the start with yoga specifically? I mean, there's so many different tools out there. There are so many different practices out there. What was it that drew you to yoga? And you've stuck with it for all these years. So it's obviously helped and benefited. But what was the attraction?
I think the big attraction was the breathing and the consistency of the practice, that
Yes.
you could do it in a yoga studio, you could do it in a hotel room, you could do it at home. And I instantly found this gravitation to that it was a practice, and that these skills that I was needing to learn, I was also looking at my child that was struggling with asthma and allergies and all of
Yep.
those things. And I was reading going, oh, this can help. Oh, this can help. Oh, this can help. And it was all things from what we call now mindfulness. That word wasn't really used back then, but
Yeah.
it was a practice, and the science of yoga, the Ayurvedic medicine, that ancient medicine was drawing me in when I was looking up a holistic way to help my son, because the medications were doing what they do, but I knew it wasn't the end all be all. There was just a
Yep.
pull that was guiding me to more natural suggestions to help my son heal in his journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today, what does that look like for you? Because you are doing something that is both a little bit unique, but also probably not in this day and age, but you're providing yoga practice, yoga teaching online as well as in person. Are you're doing
Yes.
both, or you're primarily
Well, I
online
owned
now?
a studio. Yeah, I owned a studio for 18 years. I was a
Yeah.
spiritual owner and a owner. I went back and forth of giving my business away and then taking it on, and back
Yeah.
and forth, so that I could be first and foremost a mom for my kids.
Yeah.
So everything I did, everything on my journey was to help my oldest son heal. And through that journey, the world opened up to me in ways that I feel like I always tell people, just the right people came into my path.
Yep.
Just the right information came into right in front of me where I could follow along and learn
Mhm.
and learn and learn. So my youngest son explains me like this. He says, "My mom is how does he say it? He says, the weird has caught up with the rest of the world that my mom lives."
I
So
love that.
he's
Yeah.
like, now it's a household name, but she was doing it when
when it wasn't normal.
It wasn't cool to be a yoga teacher back then. And everybody that I was introduced was either like, okay, she's weird or she's really cool. And I think that was part of the draw for
Yeah.
me, is that I could get out of the mainstream and I
Mm.
could go to the yoga room or the yoga studio, whichever it was, and I could let go of who I was over here and
Yes.
all the expectation. And I think that's one of the big lessons I learned early on, was the difference between expectation and appreciation.
Yep.
And I started appreciating my journey, because here I am, a young mom with a child that has special needs. This was before the spectrum was a thing, and people didn't know a lot about it, and you're figuring it out as you go, and you get tired and you don't know if you're going the right direction. I met all the right people and they were all in the holistic world. So
Yep.
my path just kept flowing forward with it. And now, as a yoga, in yoga therapy, I'm in my 1,000-hour school to get my certification for yoga therapy, and years, thousands and thousands of hours of teaching. All of that was to teach me to be in the flow of life and
Yep.
teach my children, who, my biggest success, I would say, as a mom, is that I taught my kids the tools that
Yep.
they needed to grow up holistically and with a practice that serves them.
Yep.
And, my child with those special needs, he did heal from those special needs by fourth grade.
Yeah.
So you would
Wow.
never know that he had all the sensory issues or all the communication issues and pragmatic speech, all the way to OT and PT issues. You would never know now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So I just want to, we're going to talk about several different things. Yoga is obviously one of the tools that you use,
Mhm.
and I know that you're very passionate about essential oils and a number of other things, but I want to just come back to yoga for a second, because we talk a lot about mindfulness in here. We've had some incredible coaches come in and speak about starting your day right, mindfulness, visualization, the language that we use as well. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But I want to just ask you a bit about the yoga from the perspective of, and I'm just thinking about my audience and the beautiful people that I've got the honor and privilege of coaching and training. And I know for a lot of them, there's a number of different things that would come up in this space. And one of them is, I'm not very flexible. Maybe I'm overweight, or I have injury. Is because I think there's this misconception, and I've had this.
Mhm.
This is why I'm bringing it up. This misconception that yoga is something that skinny, flexible people do, but it's not really something for people who are not flexible, not coordinated, maybe got injuries. What would you say to that? I want to kind of dispel this myth for a little moment, because I know that there's lots of different levels and places in the yoga world. So is it for everyone? Is it only for a specific group of people? What does that look like?
So yoga is for everyone, but you have to find an authentic yoga teacher and space.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is yoga has become a household name, and a lot of it has become a workout regimen,
Yes.
or how fast can I move, how great of shape can I be in,
Yeah.
all that, especially if you look
Can I
at
hold my whole
socials.
body up in a handstand on one
Oh, I
hand? And yeah,
mean, the socials are just outrageous, some of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So, no, the type of yoga that I'm involved in and have taught for years is any amount. So it's not how flexible your body is. It starts to create flexibility in your mind. So
yep.
one of my favorite quotes is, flexibility begins in the mind, not the body.
Right. Okay. I like that.
So, yes. And the teachings of yoga for me is all about awareness. So, my things that I work with and that I found in yoga is awakening my conscious awareness, my awareness for myself, my awareness for the present moment, my awareness for, I've got this to do right now. I'm going to change gears and I'm going to go do this, so that you can move from one thing to the next and be present in what you are concentrating on, versus living back here in the past or living too far in the future.
Yep.
The hardest pose in yoga is called Tadasana, and that is standing in the present moment. And all of us can stand, right? Or
Yes.
sit. If you can't stand, say there's, some type of situation where sitting is your world, then sitting with your feet on the ground, you're at a right angle and you're sitting there being present in this moment. So everyone can do a yoga practice. Maybe not what's on social media, but yes, yoga is for everyone.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And it opens up pathways. So just to give you a little yoga knowledge, in the yoga philosophy, there's 72,000 nadis. So I think a lot of us have heard about meridians
Yes.
or energy centers.
Uh-huh.
There's 72,000 nadis in the body, and the nadis represent all the nervous system going through your body.
Wow.
So when you practice mindfulness, somatic movements, a yoga pose, you're activating those nadis to create space and fluid movement in the body for your nervous system to come into homeostasis. And so it's not about touching your toe behind your head. It's not about standing on your head, which I don't do anymore. I don't do any of that. I'm proud to say I'm 55 years old and I use, a tool, a little bench to go upside down so that my head is free and I'm not putting any pressure on my aging cervical spine.
Yep.
So there's tools and props and ways to do it that works for you.
Yep.
And restorative yoga can be very advanced. Sitting in the present moment, laying in the present moment, learning how to breathe is all a part of yoga. And anyone can do that because your breath is with you all the time.
Yes.
It's the one tool we all have in common. It's just whether or not you're focusing on it and consciously breathing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that is yoga.
I love it. Okay, so we've established yoga is for everyone. So if you're listening to this, stay listening to this because I want to talk a little bit now about your journey into that, I guess, self-healing space. I know that you primarily were focused on healing your son, but you also at the same time were starting a new journey in your life where you were eliminating that burnout and you were putting yourself first. So as you've gone through that journey and in this process, you've also built a huge business in the direct selling industry. So you've got your yoga practice, but you've also got that. Can you tell me and I was going to ask you for one, but I'm going to say, maybe three, because I'm guessing that there's more than one here and I'm curious to see what goes on in your world. But what for you would be, say, three non-negotiables in your life? So things that you do every single day to keep yourself grounded and aligned and I guess protected from the danger of potential burnout.
Yeah. So I, first and foremost, back to that breathing, I belly breathe consciously every single day. So I inhale, my belly rises, I exhale, my belly falls. And I will do that for 1 to 3 minutes to 5 minutes. At this stage, I don't really time it, but for so many people, and anyone can reach out to me for a free focus call on my website anytime, and I will take you through how to get your belly breathing and come into that state of calm.
Awesome.
And that's number one, because I can do it anywhere I am to come back into that centered space.
So this is when you're feeling like, so you maybe have an experience, something happens, you feel yourself get a little bit stressed. That will be one of your go-tos to
Absolutely. Before this podcast, I did.
Okay. All right. I love it. Okay. So it's a tool you carry with you everywhere. I love that. Yeah.
And everybody has that same tool.
Yeah.
It's just activating the awareness.
So just coming back to that, why does belly breathing do that? Why does it calm you? Does it work for everyone? Is it something that works for some people and not other people? What's the science behind this?
So have you ever seen a baby breathe? Yes. How many babies do you have?
Many. 5. I have 5 babies. They're not all babies anymore. They're not babies anymore. I have one baby currently.
When you watch a baby breathe, their belly rises and falls, just like we talked about. So stress in the body does not come in until about 3 years old. And as having 5 kids, you remember when that stress came into their life, when they actually could say no and mean it. right? It wasn't just a
Pretty sure
word.
she means no now, but I hear you. I hear you. She's not stressed about the no yet.
She's not stressed about the no.
No.
She's just saying no to see
Yeah.
what reaction will happen,
Yeah.
right? She's learning the word no. But
Yeah.
about 3 or 4, the stress sets in and it's like, no, right? And
Yeah.
what happens? Everything gets restricted.
Okay.
Like your body starts feeling that stress. So when we return to like we were with as babies, and we move that belly up, your diaphragm is descending. So
Yep.
as you inhale and fill your belly, your diaphragm is descending. And as you exhale and bring the navel in, your diaphragm rises. Stress locks up the diaphragm not to move. And when we start, it moves a little, but it might not move all the way up. And as we're belly breathing, we're giving all of our soft organs all that blood and oxygen to give them space, and then coming in and we're wringing out all the old, like apana, all the old energy that no longer serves us. And as we breathe in, we're filling it up, and our diaphragm descends and goes, yes, I'm moving energy through the body, but I'm doing it in a calm manner. So, to really calm, you want to accentuate the exhale. And that's when the calmness really comes in, is when you breathe in maybe for 4 and you breathe out for 8.
Right. Okay.
So box breathing is pretty common.
I was going to say, it's box breathing, one of the tools that you would incorporate here. I know that that's even. So you're evenly breathing in, holding out, holding. But you're talking about breathing in for a lesser amount of time than what you're breathing out to really accentuate the calm, right?
Yeah. So you're exhaling longer. So I use box breathing to teach people breathing, to get them to understand what it is like to control the breath.
Yep.
And be aware and a part of your breath. You embody that and align with it. Mm-hmm. And then once you get that, okay, I got this, you're making that 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. And then you can really play with it and inhale for 4 and exhale for 8. And you feel that diaphragm moving, you feel your belly moving. You can then go into 3-part breathing, and your world just opens up into what we call in yoga pranayama, but it's breathing.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know, really interesting thing I noticed, and this was something I wondered, and I suspect this had to do with breathing. I think, I'm guessing I'm not alone in this, but as I got older and, my body changed shape a little bit, I noticed that I started, as a woman, to constantly hold my my tummy in. So, it's that like pulling your belly in all of the time, and it becomes habitual, right? When I fell pregnant, each time I was pregnant, and I got to that stage where I went, there's no point in holding it in anymore because I can't, right? I noticed my entire body, and there was almost a moment in each pregnancy that I noticed that my body went into a more relaxed state. And it was at that time where I went from still holding it in to, I'm just going to let it go, because I can't hold it in anymore anyway, and I'm pregnant, so I've got an excuse, and I let my belly out. Is that like, it just occurred to me as you were talking that this was probably a lot to do with that belly breathing and that shift in the way that I was holding myself. I would imagine this would be a fairly common thing for many women, would it not?
Oh, yeah. Well, and especially when you were pregnant, you didn't realize, but you might have been breathing, like allowing yourself to breathe with the baby, like with that heartbeat and with the rhythm of the baby breathing in and out, right? The baby's pulse going in and out. So a lot of things happen during pregnancy, but a lot of us, pregnant or not, restrict, hold in. We look at things again out there in the world and we think, oh, we have to have a 6-pack. We have to have a flat stomach. We have to have all these things. And when we allow ourselves to release that burden, I would call it burden, that overwhelm. There's so many things. Like, think about what the restriction is about. Is it about what other people think? Is it about what you've learned along the way? And when you get into a breathing cycle where you're purposefully breathing, you're mindfully breathing, all that can shift. Today in my yoga class, I was just in a rhythm saying, breathe in your gentleness, like be gentle with yourself. So that's where I go with restriction. How
Yep.
about be gentle?
Yeah.
Because as we're restricted, what are we? We're in fight or flight.
Yep.
We're in that sympathetic override that just is the hamster in the wheel. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. I have to look good while I'm doing it. I have
Yep.
to do 50 million things to feel like I accomplished anything.
Yep.
And that's the sympathetic nervous system. And that's fight or flight. So we grip. When
Yep.
we start to openly breathe, like I was talking about, the yoga practice, the breathing practice, mindfulness practice brings you into parasympathetic, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the rest and digest. When you let go of the restrictions, you actually begin to digest not only the food that's in there, but also
Yep.
life as it comes towards you. And
Yep.
that's a really big deal is, can I rest as I work? And can I digest all things that are coming at me?
Yep.
Am I able to allow it? I'm just going to go a step further, allow it to come into my heart and venture out the back of my heart
Yep.
as, or do I give and I receive and I hold it in and restrict?
Yep.
Can I be in the flow of the heart and the gut and my breath?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense how I said it.
It
Sometimes
does.
I can get yogically
Yeah.
and go, oh, the mainstream doesn't really understand that. So I'm working to make it simple.
I
Yeah.
feel like we're a lot more open these days to these sorts of conversations. Definitely I love your son's analogy of that the kind of the crazy has caught up. But it's so true, isn't it? Because we look back and we go, wow, some people really understood what was important before it was cool to understand what was important.
Well, and I
So
got it now. He said,
yeah,
Sam, the world has caught up with my mom's kind of weird.
with my mum's kind of that's very insightful of him, I believe.
Yeah.
So we've talked about one daily non-negotiable, which is the breathing. Do you have any other daily non-negotiables, things that you do every day to keep yourself grounded and aligned and take care of you first?
Well, it's going to be yogically again, but what I call it is snooze yoga. And so what I mean by that is my alarm goes
Sounds
off.
like my type of yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyone can do this. Yes.
Yeah.
So your alarm goes off, you hit the snooze button, and you can set that snooze button to be as long as you want. Mine is 9 minutes. And
Okay.
so for 9 minutes, I consciously am in bed and I'm pointing and flexing my feet,
Okay.
and then I'm rolling my ankles,
Yep.
and then I'm windshield wiping, and I start from the feet moving up. So then my covers are on and comfy and cozy just on my back, and my feet are going
Yep.
like this, my feet are going like this. And then I slide a knee in. So I don't even lift that knee and pull it in. I literally drag my foot and
Yep.
bend my knee and drag it back out. And then I drag the other foot in and drag it back out. And I go as far as I want to with that. If I want to hold and squeeze my knees in, great. If I want to open my feet into butterfly and lay there, I can. But I also move my arms. So I take it out and I hug myself by just stacking my arms over. And I go, this is going to be a great day. Like,
I
let's
love it.
make this a great day. And I hug myself. I love that song by Miley Cyrus, Flowers, because it's all about taking care of yourself. Like, you can do
Yep.
this for yourself. If there's no one sitting next to you, laying next to you, ready to hug you, hug yourself.
Yep.
And so I do this whole little routine. There's a YouTube video out there that my cousin filmed me in one of her spare bedrooms when I was there. She's like, all right, I'm filming you with this. And so I do have a little YouTube on my YouTube channel for morning routine. And I have a morning and a nighttime routine that I do.
Yep.
The other non-negotiable at the end of the day is legs up the wall, or
Legs up
legs
the
on a
wall.
chair. Yeah. Or
Okay.
legs on a chair.
So this is lying on your back with your legs either over the seat of the chair or up against the wall, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Now
I
this
do
is
that
meant to
for
be really good.
circulation.
Oh, circulation, not so much about your back and the
Oh yeah, your back releases. That's a
yeah.
natural thing that
Yes.
happens. Your back will
It helps your
release.
back align naturally, right?
Right, as well as the earth is hugging you again. You're getting touch on the backside of your body, whether there's someone there to touch you or not. You are getting
Yep.
touched by Mother Earth if you so are inclined to do that. Plus your legs, it's an inversion. So you're
Yep.
getting blood in circulation down the body. And I point and flex sometimes when I'm there. I move my ankles
Interesting.
again. I'm really big into circulation because I've had my time on the couch, I say,
Yes.
where walking was a challenge through a
Yep.
challenged part of my life. And I learned how to rehab myself and what is important on a daily. And
Yep.
I don't think it's just important if you've had a challenge. It's important for all of us to have some
Yep.
type of movement.
Yep. Okay. I love
So
that.
these are movements
Really
anyone
simple.
can do.
Isn't it funny, again, just as you're talking, I'm thinking about my kids, and they naturally actually find those positions without being taught to do them. My boys will often at night when we're sitting around the lounge room, they'll be doing that. They'll be lying on the ground. This is not deliberate. This is just the position they find
Yep.
themselves in with their legs up the wall. And I often wondered why they did it or found it so comfortable, but obviously they're naturally finding that place where their body
Mhm.
and as an adult, we don't tend to do that so much, do we? Because we're kind of like, I've got to, hold myself a particular way and behave a particular way. But kids don't have that same restriction. So again, it comes back to them having almost a natural knowing. And it's fascinating watching them, what they do and how they move before they
Mhm.
are restricting themselves in the same ways as an adult might.
Yeah, well, and watch your animals. Your pets are doing all kinds of movements. If you mimic their movements, and yoga is not about the final pose, yoga is about the shape that you are making with your body.
you,
So
this is funny because my dog does what we call the doodle splat, which is where, back legs are out behind him, front legs are out in front. I don't know about that one.
I don't know, try it tonight. It might be really
Oh,
comfortable.
we'll give the doodle splat a go. I'll have the whole family doing it.
I love that, the doodle spot.
Yeah.
That's
I love
funny.
it. So Pamela, just coming back for a little moment to, our listeners and what they might be going through or experiencing. If we've got someone listening right now who is currently in a state of feeling overwhelmed, maybe exhausted, maybe they're feeling even disconnected, what do you recommend for them to start? I think often it's okay, there's all these things I could do, but what's a really simple thing that I could do to start to get some good self-care practices in place if they're not currently doing any of these things or doing anything at all?
I'm going to stay in the genre we're talking about because there's so many things I could say. I'll spew some out. Dry brushing, getting, before you shower,
Yep.
going out barefoot in the grass and grounding.
Yep.
I mean, how easy is that to touch the earth with your feet? Sun gazing, getting out when the morning sun is there and looking up at the sun and looking away and looking up and looking away. Little things like that you hear, on socials and things. But where I go with people is touching your heart with your hand and touching your solar plexus right between your navel and your heart. I believe that we all have healing in our palms.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there is a lot of energy there. And so if you rub your hands together and stimulate what I call the channels of communication through your hands, then you're communicating with yourself and your light your light and your love. And
Mm-hmm.
so your heart and your solar plexus are those love and light areas. And if you just close your eyes and feel your two hands touching you and find your breath, no matter how you're breathing, it doesn't matter. Just find where your breath is, close your eyes and just be there for a moment. You come back into that centered space.
Mm-hmm.
You come back into, okay, I'm here right now and I'm right here. I'm safe. I'm worthy. All those affirmations start naturally
Yep.
coming to me. I think we're all, that's become common language for so many people now. But
Yep.
is it easy for you to say? So you may just say, I am love, I am light by touching those places and
Yep.
be right there.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's, staying in the genre that we're kind of talking about. That's my go-to.
Okay. So it doesn't require needing to sign up for something that's going to be time consuming and cost a lot of money necessarily. I mean, obviously, getting some guidance, I think, is pretty important in this space, but there are things you can do that are really super simple.
Super simple.
Yeah, I love that. So you just mentioned affirmations. Let's talk about conscious language for a little moment. How does the way we speak, especially to ourselves, shape our reality and our energy?
Whew. So much, and it's conscious and subconscious. So consciously, what you're saying to yourself when you look in the mirror, you're either decreasing your frequency and your energy,
Mm-hmm.
your vibration, that is radiating inward and outward by your word, or you're increasing your vibrational energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so positive affirmations become that space where, as you say them, you can hear the difference. Let's just use, I learned conscious language from my friend Marcella von Harding in the oil world, but her teacher was Robert Stevens of conscious language. He has the book written. And when I learned from them, two words that changed in my life were, say the word I want. I want. How does it feel? Then say the words I desire, and see the difference when I say that. Hear it and feel it. I
Yep.
want, I desire. There's a difference energetically in
Yep.
just the words that we speak.
Yep.
So as we just take general language that is coming out of our mouths and change that general language, we're raising our frequency. We're
Yep.
raising this energy that is coming and wafting in us and around us. Like that, tuning the radio, you hear that,
Yep.
or you tune it and you get that radio station and you're like, oh, this rhythm sounds good, right?
Yep.
So if we say negative words, and one that's coming to my mind is one that I don't like when kids say that's dope. That is not a fun word. It's a popularized word, right?
Yep.
But say it and feel that word, dope. It doesn't resonate energy,
Yeah.
right? So then if you say, I'm awesome,
Yep.
that's awesome. There's like this energy that lifts.
Yep.
So really being mindful of the words that we speak
Mm.
makes a difference on how you energetically show up.
Yep. Yep. And it's as simple as, just in the last, I'm going to say the last few months, I've been starting to pay attention to the way, not just I, but the people around me will respond when you greet them. Hi, how are you? How you going? And the response people give is
Mm.
often, I've noticed, a very subconscious creation of reality. So, for example, one of the things I notice I say a lot, and this is I've caught myself doing this even several times yesterday and realized I'm going to have to be really, really conscious of this because it's so ingrained, it's so habitual that like it's going to take a bit to break this one. But one of the things I say is, "Oh, I'm crazy busy. I've been crazy busy," and
Oh, I
when I
used to do
say
that.
it, instantly I feel tense and stressed and crazy busy. And the funny thing about it is, after I say it, I'll often catch myself and go, I wasn't crazy busy today, but I said it because it was this habitual thing. Isn't that funny?
Well, I used to do the same thing and I shifted it when I learned conscious language. I love that you brought this up because
Yep.
not only does that affect you that you are saying you're busy, everyone you're talking to goes, oh, I cannot contact Sam. She's so busy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you miss out on so much opportunity that could come your way because
That's so
people think you're too
true.
busy for
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
So it's how it feels, it's how it
Is
it
received.
comes across to everyone else,
Yeah.
how it makes them feel as well.
Yeah.
So I shifted that to life is full. I'm living life to the fullest and loving it.
Okay. So it's not that you've got to speak something that's not a reality. It's
No,
just
life is
shifting
really
it slightly.
full.
Yeah.
Life is really full and I'm blessed,
Yep. Yep. I
right?
love
I
it.
mean, whatever you're feeling with that, be truthful, but
Yeah.
life is really full.
Yep.
And then I started saying, life is full, but I make room for things that are important to me. And
Yep.
you are important to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in marketing, You are so often, if we're not careful, we make things about ourselves. When we're talking to people, it's not about us, it's about the person we're talking to
Yep.
and how we make them feel. Mary
Yeah.
Young says leadership, the definition of leadership is how we make people feel.
Yeah.
And
That's so
so we
true.
have
Mhm.
to watch how the words affect ourselves, but how are they affecting the others, especially in our line
Yeah.
of work?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that is really true. And I think that being that in having that intention when you are connecting with people, and it really can be those really subtle little things. But I'm also going to just come back a little step here, because there was also a period of time where I would catch myself doing these things and really beat myself up as well. And I think part of that journey has also been, it's as much about improving myself and doing better next time as it is about showing myself grace and not being super hard on myself, because that's happened now. Like I've already said crazy busy. I already did that. I can beat myself up about it and what that means, or I can start to be intentional about the steps forward. Would you have any, I suppose, tips in that space? Because I think we are our worst critics, right? I don't think we are. I know we are. We are our worst critics. And how do we be better at having grace and love for ourselves in this space?
So I think, yes, I learned a tip from Bob Stevens that I loved and I adopted into my life as language became a thing and you're noticing you're doing it and
Yep.
you're beating yourself up because you're like, I did
I
it
did
again.
it again.
He taught me, and I love this. Oops, I recommit.
Oh, I
Oops,
love that. Yep.
I
Mhm.
recommit. And
Yep.
it's like, oops. And today at my gym, we were talking about this, and I'm like, oops, I recommit. And it makes you coachable as well.
Yeah.
And so when you say it out loud, you may say it in your mind sometimes, but when you say it out loud to someone and go, oops, I recommit, they go, what are you talking about? And then you have this teaching moment and you have
Yeah.
this moment to say to them, I am so sorry I just said that. I apologize to myself and you. I recommit. Oops. I made
Yep.
an oops. And
Yeah.
then it makes you very human because
Yeah, I
that
love
is
that.
what we are. So that's one of them. The other one, back to my yoga class today, when you're really practicing. So I find that I beat myself up in dream time, in my sleep.
I think we all do that.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it's common. The monkey mind just takes over
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And so there's two other tips that may touch someone. One is what we did in yoga today is we breathe in the gentle side of ourselves and we breathe out kindness. So it's like I'm gentle and I'm kind to myself and others, which is the number one yama in yoga philosophy, and that's ahimsa, kindness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be kind to yourself and others. So
Yep.
there's that. The other piece is I call it calling my spirit back. I
Yep.
do a lot of work with the Holy Spirit. I think the Holy Spirit is vast. It's all around us and it's there for us to feel and love and touch. And so many people struggle with touching that. And I'm like, you know what? It's right there for you. Grab it.
Yep.
And I like to call my spirit back when my mind goes crazy on me and I go, wait, I'm having all these human thoughts going on and I'm so human right now. I need to pause and I need to come into that spiritual space and
Yep.
call that spirit back in and say, you got this, girl. Come on, let's go.
Yep. Yep.
And be your own cheerleader for a bit.
Yeah, I love that. And I just want to come back to that oops, I recommit mantra. I love that. It reminds me of something. I don't even remember where I saw this or read it. It might have been in a training I did a few years ago, but it really resonated with me that I think we've got this idea in our head that if I stuff up today, if I make a mistake, then I have to wait till, I think it was relating to diet, but I apply this to everything, is this concept that I have to wait till tomorrow to do better tomorrow, and I'll start again tomorrow. And so I'll go to bed and I'll refresh and I'll start again. It was like, why do we wait? Why not make it a 30 minutes? It's, oh my gosh, I'm going to restart. Like I had not such a great half hour, but I'm going to restart this next half hour. I'm going to start again. And, I think the whole concept was with diet. And the reason that it came up was because a lot of people had this idea that, oh, if I mess up, I'm just going to have a whole day of messing up. I'll eat more chocolate cake. I'll not worry about the amount of water I'm drinking. I'll start again tomorrow. And it was that reset every hour concept. Just, you might not have had a great last hour, just start again this hour. Don't make it about tomorrow, make it about the right now. And I think that oops, I recommit is sort of, I guess, in alignment with that. I love that.
And you're making me think of a client this week that taught me something, and that's why I love the work that I do, is because I'm the teacher, but I'm the student as
Yes.
well. And it's so beautiful. And she said to me, I've started a new simple thing. And I said, what is it? And she said, a 2-song walk.
A 2-song walk?
2-song walk. She said, when I get overwhelmed and I get like where I'm beating myself up, or I've done something and I need to recommit, because I was telling her, oops, I recommit. She goes, oh, that's kind of like my 2-song walk. And I went, oh, tell me that. And she goes, I put on my headphones and I get on my song list, and I do 2 songs, and I walk for 2 songs, and I come back and I'm all ready to start anew.
I love it.
And I'm like, I love that. The 2-song walk.
Yeah. Yeah. And that also reminds me of something that so one of the books that we do a little book club when we listen to or read, and it doesn't really matter how we do it, but within our community, we read a different book every month because it's about growing ourselves, right? And one of the book that we've just finished is called Fight Right. And I don't know if you're familiar with this book, but it's a brilliant book. I don't think just for couples, I think for anyone, because it's as much about learning about your response to difficult situations as anything. But one of the things it talks about, of course, is a fight or flight. And the fact that when you get in a really high stress state, if you're in a conversation with someone that's not going the way you want it to go, and you're starting to feel yourself build and get to that point, it's you do need to take a pause, because you're not going to get anywhere. But it's not just about the pause, and that makes me think about the time that we pause for. So one of the things it talks about is that we need a minimum 20 minutes for our body to come back into a state of, and sometimes it's longer, it depends on the situation, but come back into a state of calm. And so they talk about different techniques and things that you can do to take that pause or take that leave away from whoever it is that you're conversing with at the time, or the situation that you're in, to get yourself back into a state where you're going to make some progress on whatever that situation is. And one of the things I thought at the time was, okay, well, if you got like a playlist on your phone or something like that goes for at least 20 minutes, you could go for a walk, listen to that playlist, and get your body and your mind back into a state where you're ready to tackle that situation again. And I think that's a really powerful tool, a really cool tool. I love that.
Well, and anyone can do it. Everyone, and music is so uplifting in itself.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of having a different playlist for different things, and I name mine as well. I've got a mindfulness one. I have an inspiration one. I have a mission statement one. So when I'm reading my mission statement, I listen to a particular playlist. I have a pre-presentation playlist that is we talk a lot about our game on songs. So I've got all my game on songs there ready for before I present or do a webinar or a training. So I think music is really powerful, right?
Oh, huge. My favorite playlist I have is my happy playlist.
Happy
That
playlist.
Spotify actually made for me. I just picked one of my favorite happy songs, and all of a sudden this playlist came out of that one song happening.
I love it. I love it. What's the song?
The one song that started it,
Yeah.
it's called Beautiful Way by Max Ribner. Max Ribner is a newer artist. He's a trumpet player, and he was in a band for 16 years traveling around, and now he's soloing, and he travels around the United States gathering community in chorus. And so he has new albums and new songs coming out all the time, but his song Beautiful Way and Thank You for This Day, Thank You for This Moment. It's just beautiful music that you can sing along to in mantra. And he's just really heartfelt. He's up and coming. Grab him, watch him on socials.
Listen to that one. We'll put it in the show notes.
My son is a professional trumpet player as well. And so, I love supporting the arts. for
So
sure.
good. Let's change it up a bit for a second. I want to talk about digital detoxes. I feel like this is a bit of a trend. We're hearing a lot of people talking about it. First of all, what do you think about digital detoxes? Second of all, do you think, from a calming chaos point of view, they are necessary? I've got my own thoughts around this, and I think in the world that we live in right now, we are completely surrounded by and consumed by technology. I mean, we've got computers, we've got phones, we've got literally technology at our fingertips all of the time, and it doesn't necessarily lend itself to a calming place. So, first of all, what are your thoughts around digital detoxes?
I believe that you should be present in the moment where you go. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're experiencing life, it's one of my biggest pet peeves that people of today are in this content forming arena where they're
Yeah.
forming their content as they're living life.
Yes.
I feel like the digital detox isn't like you have to all of a sudden go off for a
Stop.
month or 2 months. I believe you be present in the moment and have your time aligned when you make your content, where you're on your socials and your technology, and you make being present a priority.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's not 24/7, but
Yeah.
it's not totally without either. And
So it's
so,
a daily
there are
practice,
those
right?
times where you might take a family vacation or something and go, I'm off socials for 7 days. And
Yeah.
that's because you want to be present with where you are.
Yeah. I
And
love
I
it.
think it's not about this technology is hurting me. I think some people over dramatize
Yeah.
the world that we live in today
Yep.
and feel like it's doing all these things. I mean, get your protectors, get your EMF protection, get your things in line so that you can be smart about what your needs are on your technology, but be present with where you are as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What, tips could you give when it comes to being present and in the moment? I wanted to talk to you about being centered. You talk a lot about being centered, and I think for a lot of people that sounds great, but it sounds a little bit like, what does that mean, and how do I get to that place? Especially if they are literally taking life as it comes and they haven't had a chance to learn about, you talk a lot about self-awareness and being in the moment, being present. So what tips could you give around, first of all, being present, and also what does it mean to be centered, and how can we be better at becoming that?
So that is a huge thing about awareness and mindfulness, right? Is like, how do you show up in the moment and be there? So the tools that I've used, I have a lot spiraling right now.
Yeah.
I did hospice work for volunteer work for like 2 years with a program that I went into the hospitals and did essential oils and energy work and yoga in bed and contemplative care and all that. And why I'm using this as an example is it'd be real easy to not pay attention to what I'm actually walking into because it was a lot,
Yeah.
right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So often people that are listening, they have a lot going on in their life, and it's really easy just to be surface and just kind of coast through it and not be present.
Yep.
So it's more simple than you think, and it takes conscious effort.
Yep.
So one of the tools that I would do before I walked in that room, and I learned this from a teacher, was to look at the door jamb and look at and count something on that door. Like literally look at it and go, okay, I'm right here right now. And I'm going to count the what is it? The hinge, the
Yep.
notches on the hinge,
Yep.
and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm walking in this door right now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel where I'm walking. I'm present where I'm walking.
Yep.
I'm going in. And so it is some self-talk. It doesn't just happen. It's a practice
Yep.
that you do to become present. And when I say feel your feet, people are like, what are you talking about? That's so yoga jargon. But right now, everyone feel your feet on the ground. Feel it. Where are you standing?
Yep.
Where are you right now? That's the easiest practice I can say to you is pay attention to where your feet are
Yep.
and what you're about to walk into, what you're about to walk away from. Where are you standing and what are you observing right now? It's that simple but that difficult.
Yep. Yep. I
But
love
it
that.
takes that awareness to say, I am standing right here.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think that's why I do the morning snooze, because it brings me into my body. So often we are just floating through life. So I feel like the yoga practice and why yoga has been so consistent in my life is to embody what I'm experiencing on a regular basis.
Yep.
How much illness comes about because we're not paying attention to how it's affecting us. We're not paying attention to the medication or the supplementation or the water intake or the food we're eating. Like we're literally just not paying attention. So how do you
Yeah.
pay attention is the same thing as awareness.
Yep.
In what small doses can you start to pay attention?
Yep. Yep.
So
So
even
good.
someone that doesn't walk, they can still acknowledge, say people that have lost a limb, they still feel their limbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? That's awareness. So feeling, where are you in time and space? Start with your feet. Feel your feet. Start with your self-talk of something that makes you be so present that you're right there, right then. Don't just take it for granted and walk in.
Yep.
Drop in first to
Yeah,
where
I
are
love
you?
that. Drop in first. Yep.
Drop
So
in
powerful.
first.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Pamela, if anyone's listening to this right now and they're going, okay, this is all really great, but I would really like some help, some guidance, you do have some online courses and yoga classes that you're doing, which I'm super excited by. I'm definitely going to be dropping in and using these because yoga is something that for years I have wanted to learn and practice, but I've always been a little afraid, I've got to admit, to do it because I've not felt like I fit that. What's the word I'm looking for? That box, I suppose, of a person who practices yoga. But that being said, you've explained it in such a different way and it's such a doable way as well. So you've got some things that people can do. They can connect with you. How do they do that? What does that look like?
So just go to my website, pamelahunter.me, or the same one. My business is called Fun, Love, and Wellness
Fun, love,
without a
and wellness.
G. And the reason why is let's have fun as we love ourselves and others
Yep.
and find our wellness,
I love
right?
it.
So funloveandwellness.com or pamelahunter.me. And up in the right corner is a little button that's a focus call. It's 30 minutes with me. I tell everyone start there. Just make a focus call with me. Let's have a conversation. You interview me. I interview you. We just chat to see if what I have to offer is something that will serve you. Because every single day I ask myself, how and where am I called to serve?
Yep.
And so that's what that whole call is about, is to focus on each other and see. And so I have an online studio. It's called the Fun, Love, and Wellness Virtual Studio. And back in the membership site is essential oil education and yoga. Now, as we're having this and this gets put out, I am in the process of making the oil portion, the essential oil portion, free for anyone to pop into. And then the yoga piece is a paid membership that is really inexpensive for what you receive.
Yep.
And so that's really my main thing. But the focus call may lead us to private coaching. It may lead us in lots of different directions.
Great.
So we just see, and that's kind of how I tell people to start. I don't want people to spend money on a subscription, a membership program and not utilize it. That is not what I'm about. I don't even advertise it. If you find me, we're meant to be in relationship with each other.
I love it. So good.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the links to that in the show notes so you can check out Pamela's either that one-on-one or the online studio. But I'm super excited for that. I think it's amazing that you're doing that and you're serving people literally all over the globe in that space. So that's
Yes, it's
so good.
fun.
Okay, I've got my 4 favorite questions here. I want to wrap up by asking these. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm
All right.
ready.
Question number 1 is what is your favorite book for us to add to our accelerator book list? I should change the word of that. Should change that to what's your book of the moment, because I feel like what's your favorite book is really mean when you love a lot of books. But what's your favorite book for us to add?
So I'm going to go with my all-time favorite book,
Okay.
is The Alchemist.
Oh, it's a great book. I have read that one. Yes.
The
Yep.
Alchemist. It has so many lessons in it. It'll all make sense as you read it, and it's stories that takes you on a journey.
Yeah, I love that. I've forgotten about that one. So I read that one a long time ago. I should pull it back out.
hmm
Okay, if you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would it be and why?
Ooh, this was a big one. I'm going to say making sure that the communication that goes out is perceived the way you mean it.
Ooh, yes, I love
Because
that.
perception is everything. And
Right.
as you know, in your line of work,
Yeah.
we get misperceived,
Yeah.
or maybe there's miscommunication. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many ways that communication can be dangerous or harmful. And you're like, oh, that is not how I meant it.
Yes.
So that would be amazing to make sure that your word was taken as it was
Intended.
intended to be.
Yep. So good. Well, that's a new one. I haven't had that one come up before. I love it. What is your favorite quote?
So I'm going to read it to you because there's a short version, but it's a longer quote, and it's by Marianne Williamson of The Course in Miracles. And you've probably heard the first part of it, but I'm going to read the whole piece. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Oh, that is so good. I'm glad you read that whole thing too, because how powerful is that? Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, so my little tagline that I say from that is a big thing for me is together we are more. Shine your
Mm,
light and love on. And I
yeah.
say love on because my middle name is Levon. And I truly
Oh,
believe that I was given this strange little name. It's my mother's middle name as well. And through the years, when I would say my name, Pamela Levon, I was like, oh, I am meant to love on people. I am meant to go share the world of love. And so I
I love
say,
it.
shine
So
your
good.
light and love on.
Awesome. And the very last question I've got for you, by far my favorite, is if you could go back in time and you could say one thing to your past self, what would that be?
What would that be? That one, so many things come to my mind, but the main thing that comes is don't stop being you. And the reason why I say that is there was a time in my life where I shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in my life where I literally just stepped out of the way and let life move. And if I could have taken that part away, I think it really shaped my life a little differently for that time period. I would go back and say, oh, no, 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 no. Keep on the path you are on and keep moving, keep shining bright, keep going. Now I
Yeah.
caught up with that later on, but there was a time where I needed to hear that.
Yeah, wow. So good. Well, there has been so much amazing wisdom and I'm going to say energy as well in this conversation with you. So thank you so much, Pamela, for joining me today and for sharing your wisdom with our guests. I know that certainly those listening on in, if you haven't taken something from this today, I really encourage you go back and re-listen because man, oh man, even I've got a couple of things I'm like, I'm going to try that. That sounds amazing. So thank you again so much for
Thank
today.
you
I
so
really appreciate
much.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate being invited and I appreciate this new relationship we're building.
Yes, amazing. And I'm certainly going to be leaning into some of those things that you're doing as well. I think it's really important, guys. You know, as Pamela said right at the very beginning, and you heard this in this podcast from leaders all around the globe, we keep hearing the same thing again and again. I think there's a reason we hear it, which is oxygen mask on self first. We have to take care of ourselves because you cannot pour from an empty cup and you cannot be all that you were put here to be if you are burning yourself out, exhausting yourself, and not stepping into yourself as well. I think, you know, there's a period of time there, Pamela, and I think we've all been there where I don't even remember stepping through life every day. It was just kind of this groundhog day. I would just go through life. I wasn't present. I wasn't there. I didn't know who I was. I wasn't, you know, but it is such an enjoyable journey when we are learning to become self-aware. It's not about mastering it. It's just about that awareness and learning, right? Learning who we are and the people around us as well.
And just always remember it's a practice.
Yes. Yeah.
Oops, I recommit.
I love it. So good. Well, thank you again for
Thank
tuning
you.
on in to this podcast, guys. Thank you again for being a guest with me today, Pamela. And don't forget, guys, if this episode has resonated with you, please share it with a friend. This is a free resource we provide you, but we obviously need to spread the word to impact as many people as we can. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. But again, we'll see you on the podcast again next week. Thanks again. That's it from us. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. If you love listening and you found that this was helpful for your direct selling business, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out the recommended video that's popped up on your screen right here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.